everyone, and welcome back to another episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. Today, I am welcoming Jordi McGraw, lifestyle and travel writer, as well as certified holistic health coach. Jordi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, we're going to get started. So, if you can just tell me a little bit about yourself and your career path.
Sure. Well, it's certainly a bit of a crazy one, but going way far back, I went to school at Boston University for broadcast journalism. So I thought I wanted to be on TV. I was planning to be a local news reporter, and I actually got some job offers when I graduated. But they were sort of not ideal. It was living 2 hours north of Syracuse, making no money, working nights and weekends. And I just thought I wasn't going to be happy living that life. So I decided not to accept them. And instead I took a job at Life and Style magazine, which I'm not sure if you know, is basically a gossip magazine, an entertainment magazine. Mm-hmm. And I figured, I would work on my interviewing skills, writing skills, and then pursue TV later on. I ended up spending 6 years there. I ultimately becoming the entertainment director. And I actually got to be on TV a ton for the magazine. I was one of their main spokespeople and interviewed celebrities, went to parties. It was really, really fun in my early 20s to be living that kind of lifestyle in New York. And then sadly and tragically, my dad died suddenly in December of 2010, and it totally turned my world upside down. And I wasn't happy in my job anymore. I wasn't happy in general, and I just wanted to find a better way of living life. And so I started, working out more, eating healthier, taking care of myself, going to therapy, trying all different sorts of tactics, and realizing that I could be happy again and take control of my life simply by learning how to shift my mindset and making these really small changes that led to this radical change. And I fell in love with feeling so good despite what happened to me that I wanted to learn how to help other people do the same. So I went to school at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and became a certified holistic health coach in 2015. I ended up quitting my full-time job that year too, and went on to become a freelance travel writer, which is what I do now, and as well as coach clients. And now I've been doing that for over almost 6 years now, writing for outlets like Condé Nast Traveler, Travel and Leisure, the New York Times, and getting to work with my coaching clients as well. It's been great. And now I'm a mom, so I have that to manage too.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Like, I feel like in life sometimes like something that you think is gonna go right doesn't end up being what you want to do, and I think that's what learning is about. Life is a learning experience, and I think it's amazing how you finally found what you really love to do, and you're giving back and helping people in ways that felt good for you, and that's just so inspiring. That's amazing.
Yeah,
so what inspired you to want to become a writer? You kind of talked a little bit about it, but
yeah, I think I've always loved storytelling, even when I thought I wanted to be in broadcast journalism specifically. I think I really liked the idea of putting a story together and telling people's stories and telling stories from across the globe. And that's really what drove me. I'm a pretty social person, so I enjoy meeting new people, learning people's backgrounds. And I think that's sort of like the general inspiration of where that came from. How it came to fruition as it is today, that is not something that I had ever really envisioned. But it certainly is a passion, and I'm very lucky to be able to make a career out of doing it, because a lot of people can't or don't get the opportunity. And I'm very grateful for that.
Right. And that's like relatable because I'm currently a broadcast journalism major. And I do have the dream of like being on television and being a news journalist and stuff like that. But I never thought that I would even kind of like start a podcast. It was almost something that just came about spontaneously because of quarantine. I just want to venture out and try new things. And I think it's like an important lesson that like what I may think I want to do now may not be what I want to do in the future. And like, I don't know, I just think that eventually like I'll find what's right for me. And if that is being on the news and stuff like that, then wonderful. But if not, I feel like there's always a plan. And I think like just trusting it and stuff like that
Yeah.
is really important.
Something that I often tell a lot of my coaching clients is stop shoulding all over yourself. Like, don't do something just because you think you should be doing it. I worked all through college. I took all the internships, did everything
Yeah.
that was supposed to be for it to become a broadcast journalist. And for you, that very well may work out. But if
Right.
you find yourself perhaps like me, where you're not happy anymore, even if you achieve that goal, or it's not happening in the way that you want to, like, don't should all over yourself. Like, find the drive of what is going to make you happy first, and the career will follow. Again, like I said, I knew I loved travel. I knew I didn't want to work in an office anymore. I knew I wanted to make my own schedule. Like, those were the goals that I went after, and what manifested was the career that I have today. And now I'm at a point where I'm shifting again. I want to have more focus on my coaching career and have writing not be as intense as it has been for the past few years. So it's a constant evolution, and to stop placing these self-imposed restrictions to allow yourself to achieve the feeling that you want in a day rather than that tangible career necessarily.
Definitely kind of finding something that you love to the point where you don't feel like it's work anymore, more just something that you want to do. And that's something that I'm going to obviously kind of aspire to be something that makes me happy every single day. Because I know so many people who do go to jobs and aren't necessarily the happiest. And I just think it's really important to find something that just suits you as an individual. So, you write about topics including lifestyle, travel, food, and culture. So, what do you feel most confident writing about, and where do you find the inspiration to write about these topics?
I mean, I find the most confidence, that's a very interesting question, in probably not a particular topic, but in doing interviews with people. I find that I am a very good interviewer. I've interviewed a lot of celebrities, a lot of prominent people in industry, and I find that I am capable of eliciting really good quotes from people and getting people to feel comfortable with me. And
Yeah.
that's where I find my strong suit. So whatever the story is, whatever the topic, whether it's a chef or a hotelier or a celebrity, like being able to tell that story based on our conversation, that's kind of where I find the most confidence. And I think a lot of that stems from my gossip reporting days, where I'd have to stand on a red carpet fighting, 20 other reporters to get Blake Lively to give me a comment versus anyone else. And I have one question, one shot to get that quote to make a story out of it. So now I have the pleasure of having a lot of time with celebrities that actually want to talk to me. And so I feel like that background has really helped me be able to craft stories and get people to open up to me in ways that perhaps they wouldn't have done before. So yeah, that's where I kind of get my confidence from in terms of what I like to write about.
That's so interesting because like I currently am being interviewed for internships and things like that, and it's always almost nerve-wracking. I don't know, especially because this is like my first, I guess would say like interviews for, I guess more of a professional setting in an internship, and sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, like the relationship you have with the interviewer who you don't know, and kind of finding the confidence to be yourself. And kind of getting to know this person who's going to be either hiring you or working alongside you is can be difficult. So I think that the fact that you're confident in that, I feel like is helpful for you and for the probably interviewee as well.
I hope so. I feel like I for some reason make people feel comfortable with me, and so they open up, and perhaps that's just like naturally my personality, or maybe it's just because I enjoy doing it so much that it it allows a relationship between two strangers to develop even in just a few minutes. And I'm not saying all interviews have gone perfectly by any means, but for the majority, some have certainly been a struggle. If people who do not want to talk to me, but for the majority of it, I enjoyed those types of stories the most.
That's so cool. It's amazing. You're a regular on talk shows, including the Wendy Williams Show, MSNBC, and the Today Show. So can you just talk a little bit about these experiences and how you became a regular?
So a lot of that started back, like I mentioned, when I was working for Life and Style and In Touch magazines. As I'm sure you've watched a million times on TV, there's always talking heads on all of these different shows, and there's always celebrity news happening. So I was kind of the person, one of the spokespeople for the magazine when either we would break a news story or there would be a celebrity news story in the press, and they needed someone to come on and talk about it, an expert. I would often be that person. So that's how I got into doing more of the TV, which I'd always loved before, right? Like that was what I wanted to originally do. And since then, I've just developed a reputation of being, capable of being a TV personality. And so a lot of these places will call me back just to have me on, and knowing that I can talk about whatever story it is they need and give them the sound bites they need. And sometimes it's just been because it's a story that I've broken. I was the reporter that got the interview with Stormy Daniels that was on the cover of In Touch magazine and kind of broke open that whole story. The Wall Street Journal first reported that Donald Trump had paid off Stormy Daniels to keep quiet about their affair. And I had an interview with Stormy Daniels from years prior, talking all about the affair. So obviously when that news broke, and I alerted my former colleagues that I had done this interview a long time ago that never ran, they published it. And obviously that created a fairly big media storm that a lot of different outlets wanted me to talk about.
That's awesome. So almost kind of like you go on a show and then like you kind of build this reputation and then you kind of get called back and stuff like that. And I'm sure that's such an amazing experience because not many people can say that they've done that or been on these shows.
Yeah, no, it's great. And, there was definitely a period of time when I was still in entertainment journalism that I had a dream of being like the next E-News host. And, I tried to get agents and things like that, and it never worked. It never worked out. And I was really bummed about it at the time, thinking that like that was what I was supposed to be doing. And it wasn't. Yes, I was having these appearances, but I wasn't occasionally I'd go in for auditions for hosting, and I never nailed it. So it didn't work out the way that I had planned, but the life that I have now came to fruition in a way that I couldn't have imagined. I stopped shitting all over myself.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. So you also have a website called meetjordi.com, and we'll soon be launching coachingwithjordi.com. So what do you hope to achieve with these?
So meetjordi.com is basically just essentially a portfolio, get to know me sort of website. I have, my foot in a lot of different worlds. I have hosted podcasts. I've been on TV, like you mentioned. I write, I'm a mom, all of these things. And so I was like, you know what, this is just me and where I'm at right now. And that site can always change. It's a place where I can show off articles that I've written, podcasts that I've been on or hosted, TV appearances, cute photos of my baby, things like that. And I do have a coaching tab on there right now on the Meet Jordi website that explains a little bit about how I work with clients one-on-one, how I've been booked for group sessions. I've led week-long coaching sessions on cruises, things like that. But like I mentioned before, I'm at that period of time in my life now where I want to focus on that coaching a bit more and really kind of put myself out there, and not just be behind the scenes with my clients doing the work. I would like to take on more clients. And so I'm going to be launching Coaching with Jordi, which you can still access through the Meet Jordi page. on that same coaching tab, but it will just give a little bit more information about like how we work together, what my work is as a coach with you, and helping other people break out of that same rut that I found myself in, and helping them be the author of their lives and create their dream life like I did.
So cool. Yeah, I actually developed my own, like, I would say it's similar, like a personal portfolio, obviously with more of like my things because I don't know, just to put myself out there for like what I want to do in broadcast journalism. And I post my podcast on there as well. And I kind of just have like an about me section, some of the work I've done on like on air and like being an anchor and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a really good way to network yourself and put yourself out there and connect with people because I feel like there's always people that are seeking help. And if you can be the one to make a difference in someone's life, I think that it's so important.
Yeah. And, the beauty of having the internet and social media and things is everyone is capable of building their own brand,
Yeah.
right? So the sooner that didn't really exist when I was in college. I mean, it did, but not to the extent. I mean, Instagram and things like that didn't exist. Facebook had just started. So everyone has the chance to build their own brand and put themselves out there way before you even graduate from college, right? So like you can start to craft that image of yourself and get yourself out there and visible in a way that wasn't possible before. It's not traditional anymore, which can be overwhelming at times, but it's also really, it could be a positive if you're able to, focus some attention on that. But also means don't post bad photos on social media.
Oh my God, I know. Social media is such a powerful tool. And like I almost feel like you have to be super, super careful more than ever. It's like such a big part of people's lives. And I think that it's about like what you make of it. I feel like if you want to portray yourself in a good light and stuff, you will, and you'll post content that makes you look good and that you're proud of. And I also think that's in the same regards to kind of putting yourself out there in a way, like branding yourself, kind of being who you want to be and showing who you want to be to employers or just in life in general.
Yeah.
How you want people to kind of like portray you and the kind of person you want to be seen as can be a really positive part of social media too.
Absolutely. And that's when I work with clients, that's what we work on is like you have the ability, anyone has the ability to write that next chapter in their life.
Yeah.
Their past doesn't have to define them. It is part of them, but it doesn't have to dictate how the rest of your life goes. And that's what I work on my clients with is building that confidence, knowing that they can write that next chapter and it's completely in your power.
I love that. So what has been your favorite or most rewarding experiences in your career this far?
Ooh. I mean, breaking the Stormy Daniels story, that was pretty fun. That was a whirlwind. So it was exciting to be part of, I can now say that I'm part of like a presidential sex scandal, which is like just really fun. And I was also very pregnant at the time that was all happening. So it's just like this weird moment in my life where I'm on these talk shows, super, super pregnant, like about ready to give birth, talking about the president having sex with a porn star. And it's just as like, it's surreal and it's still surreal to me. And it's just so fun. It's just a fun thing to have on my resume. If you Google my name and that pops up, you're just like, yep, that's me.
Oh my God, totally. That's crazy that because like the presidential, like anything to do with the president is so like big and like large scale and that like the fact that you were part of that is just like, yeah, that'd be something that I would be so proud of too.
Yeah.
So as a holistic health coach, what is some advice you would give to someone who just wants to live a happy and healthy life?
What I always tell my clients, and we were sort of touching on this before, is to not think about the exact job or the exact person or the exact weight that you want to hit on the scale. Instead, focus on if you were living your dream day, what would that look like? What would that feel like? How would you feel when you woke up in the morning? What would you see outside your window? And start from that place to start to craft and understand the changes that need to be made in your life. I think the first step, there's 3 steps that I always talk about: awareness, redefinition, and enacting small changes. So you need to first become aware of your limiting beliefs and what's holding you back. And that takes a lot of work. That's probably the hardest part of it all. And a lot of people never even get to that stage. And that's step 1. Mm-hmm. And then step 2 is going through that sort of daydreaming process. Like, what do you want life to be? Let's redefine everything that you know in life and that you want to be different and you want to feel different. And then you focus on figuring out those small changes that will lead to that radical change and make that dream life come true. And it doesn't have to be this like all-encompassing, grandiose, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week and I'm going to quit my job and do this. Like, I didn't quit my job in overnight. I slowly knew that I didn't want to work at a full-time job anymore. And I started to write articles on the side. I started to get different pieces of work here and there. And over time, I built up enough outside work to then leave my job. But my focus was, I want to travel. I don't want to be in an office. And all of the other pieces came together, and just focus on doing one small thing a day that leads you to that dream life, that leads you to that goal. That's all you have to worry about. Don't go 50 steps down the line. Just focus on one thing that you can do today. Your future starts with your next thought. That's it.
Wow, yeah.
Change the course of your life by changing the very next thought in your mind.
That's so powerful. I definitely agree. And I feel like that's something that people work on for their whole lives, almost trying to get to that, like maximizing their potential and being the best version of themselves. And I definitely agree, because I think that sometimes people's goals don't always are like unachievable, not because of like the want to like achieve this goal, but because I feel like they think too far ahead or want to kind of achieve something that is almost like too far-fetched in the moment. And I think just starting simple is so important, because just like by doing like one thing a day can like lead to like a new habit and lead to like a goal that you want to accomplish, rather than doing something so extreme that may not be realistic or even
sustainable.
Yeah, sustainable. And I think that is part of the reason why people say that they can achieve their goals. But I personally think that if you like want to do something, then you're going to do it no matter like nothing will be stopping you. If there's like a will, there's a way. That might be cliche, but I truly believe that. And like I know within myself, like personally, like I'm just a very determined person, and I know like what I want to achieve. Like I know like yeah, I guess I just have like goals that I want to achieve in life. And I feel like someone's like opinion of telling me that I cannot do something kind of just won't affect me, because like I know within what I'm capable of. So I think it's starting within and just knowing your worth, and just like being proud of how far you've come, and but always having goals that you want to achieve.
Absolutely. Totally agree. But just not making it such a big deal. You can achieve those dreams by just doing one thing today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And Jordi, finally, what are some ways that people can get in contact with you?
So there's a few ways. Obviously, we talked about my website, which is meetjordi.com. And there's an email page on there that if you want to reach out to me on there, that is fine. The Coaching with Jordi website will have the same access. So either one is perfectly fine. And you can find me on Instagram at Jordi Lippe, JordiLippe, which is my maiden name, and the same handle on Twitter as well.
Thank you so much, Jordi.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Olivia. I appreciate it.